He made a way when there is no way. I'm redeemed, this is my story. I just want to see you the way. I just want to see you the way. Oh, I could feel so cool. See you the way. I just want to see you the way. Oh, I can't just want to see you the way. They do it down. Oh, I can't just see you the way. When I see God's doing in my life, I have no option but to praise His name. My Lord, I will follow you till the end. Ooh, I'm lost without you. My journey, I get up on my model. And my Lord, I said, I want to go this way. But them must know, and more must I know. What I call you, must see you the way. I just want to see you the way. I just want to see you the way. I want to feel so cool. See you the way. I just want to see you the way. Well, I call you, just want to see you the way. They do it down. Well, I call you, must see you well. Chipotio, I know, see you the way. I just want to see you the way. What can I do? Just a horse if I told you, you would never believe it. Cause all those died in a process. Oh yeah, I am alive today. It is not by my own power. It is by the grace of God. Mama, see your tower. Tell you I know. What I call you. You saw Mama Tower. I just want to see you there. I just want to see you there. Oh, I could feel so cool. See you there. I just want to see you there.
Okay, good evening. Welcome, folks. I'm Alfonso Z and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Coming a little bit later tonight, but notwithstanding, we say welcome to the show. Good evening, Mr. Smith. Good evening. Let me try to call this name. Sipondwe Diakati. Hopefully, I'm calling it. Man, Nancy Nangbe. Good evening. Happy Sunday. Of course, our own man, cool boy. Good evening. Happy Sunday. We sincerely apologize running a little bit late. Now, even a little bit running late here this evening. Sometimes it's just crazy, you know. So, but notwithstanding, we're here and we're going to have a conversation here this evening. This is still Liberia Public Radio. Legendary Emma George, good evening, welcome. The link is out there as well. And let's say we say good evening, welcome to all of the folks of Liberia Public Radio. This is LPR. Welcome to the show. I'm Alfonso Z and so of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Stay tuned, let's get a ball rolling. Welcome to the show again. Good evening and welcome. Today is Sunday. Man, this country is an equalizer. Some days, a lot of little technical problem being going, but because of your commitment to this network too, we can't just let it go. We say happy Sunday, and hopefully all of you spend your Sunday in a very good and special way, regardless of what happened. The East Coast, the weather that can't wait this evening. I think the Liberal sent his cow dust and he just sent me to sleep. So, sometimes, man, the body kind of like beats up to. But notwithstanding, it's better late than never. Your commitment to this network cannot even afford us to let a day go, especially when it's a confident tool that we sign with you guys. So it's important that we have these conversations and so on. By the way, how your evening going? Again, you will notice something to the bottom line that says cash out LPR 68243388802. That number is on. We also have your Zelle with an account attached with Citizens Bank. Uh, just whatever you can do, our business not too hard. We like to work for something. Give us a contract. If you have a business, you can advertise with us. Too much of free thing is not just good. But for the good of this network, we want you to also make a contribution. So, because especially for those of you who just were here last week, you saw here Sunday. Every Sunday now, Liberian War Today will be in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia with my God. They call him Uncle Julius, Julius Bookie, aka Uncle Julius of Sky FM to 107. And the panelists, they're going to be here every Saturday at 12 Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. That is huge. They did not ask us to pay, but we got to use our good conscience, good judgment as a human being for us to do it. But let me just bring in to Tavia Malice Jones, Amos George, if you are listening, Cecil Goyot, and the rest of the analysts. The link is out there. If for any reason anybody don't get it, just send a message in the chat room. We apologize to our audience of our time is usually 8 o'clock, but sometimes, oh my goodness, this lane is an equal assault. Let me bring in Otavia Malice Jones. This Sunday here, let's have a conversation and get it. Okay, Mr. Jones, Otavia Malice. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Well, good evening, moderator.
Okay, so how was the Sunday? By the way, let's be a little bit magnanimous. Is that a right word? Is that a right word calling magnanimous?
Oh, of course, yes. The Sunday started on a good note, but it's like it being jammed by this unusual weather, and I thought we're already in the summer, but I see the weather. I think it's going to 69, 69,
And you say, and
59.
and you wanted to come in, and you wanted to come in the cool.
Oh yeah, I think we in a cold now.
Yeah, I remember what Dana de la Cote d'Ivoire. Oh my goodness, Freetown. The guy they used to call me the roving ambassador. In Eric Sadako said Sierra Leone,
Uh-huh.
Camp Waterloo. We the original established founders of Camp Waterloo. And his life is funny because should I go there this evening? Let me just leave it there. I will like him to be here, and then I will tell the story. And that's happened to do. Yesterday, Senator Sir Joseph, I tweeted on the line said Waterloo boy.
Oh,
You
you
can't
understand?
you can never determine the future of someone.
I know.
Yeah, and one of the perfect example that I know is Sir Joseph, who was now senator of Moserado County.
No, no.
Some people get a storytelling, especially anybody that passed through Waterloo knows the story of that young man.
Hmm.
But anyway, it is why it is, and that's why sometimes you can't determine people's you can't
No.
do that. Okay, good evening, so welcome. Let's have a little conversation here to our viewers and listeners, and as usual, we'll put it here. Abia, good evening to Rebecca, to Wallace, good evening to Mr. Collins, Terry Collins, Jacobs Quiat, and all of our good people. That's one of the reasons Ari Anderson, Sunday, what? Saturday, Zond Ye. Okay, hopefully I'm correct. Mr. Dixon Temmers, Mr. Morgan, Gloriot, Vokat Molabat, thank you. My own boy, my own little junior brother is watching. Inside Liberia, still up at this time here. Good to have you here, Mr. So, and all of you guys here. This is one of the reasons. If for anything, we'll catch up with time. But
Okay.
these people, they commit time.
Yeah.
So it's like literally as a covenant that we sign to them. They look up to us. We look up to all that sort of battle system for us to
Yeah.
exchange idea. And this is why it's so much important that we come to this conversation here. A lot is expected of us, especially for those of us who are facilitator, uh, those of you who are panel analysts, you gotta be sincere too. But they your party, some of you just hinking like a garden.
Mhm.
Nobody know which way you're air. One day you're talk on the other side when the people say yeah. Because at the end of the day, the weight drops on me because people will always call me, but oh, Mr. So the other man here, we thought you were, I said, me, I have no idea what myself if for my mouth today. So we got to hold everybody accountable on this here. So let's have a conversation here. Good evening and happy Sunday. To thank you for being here. We will
Yeah.
not say as much as we should be here this evening, but what is important for us to have this conversation. What's happening from your end?
Well, I saw this announcement about NEC coming out some statistics, which of course everyone is very interested to know because the statistic will represent the number of people that have registered to vote, the number of female, the number of male, and the category of people. Even though the government had this censor that was, in my thinking, it was quite inconclusive. It was preliminary, and later on they legitimized the preliminary document to be the full document. So, and we talk about it here and there, we push here and there, and the government declared it a legitimate document. So we have to accept it as such. So now NEC has now done its own critical analysis of what they received from those who voted. I mean, for those who register to vote come October 10th. So we are anxious to really see those statistics, especially I hope they will have a segmented county by county because I'm all.
Well, Mary Jones, you see, this is what you guys do. Every time they take one thing from the end, you throw it on the other side. What do you think? You think they're just going to bundle everything one, put it in one truck and go maybe from the south to the southern side or eastern? Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry to say, but I think the election commission, I think, I sorry to say, but it's very unpredictable. Sometimes they bring the unusual. Sometimes they bring some surprises. So, for the sake of transparency, accountability, we want a segmented report county by county. I'm more focused on the six
How do you think? How do you think?
existing county.
So let me ask you, how do you think this voter registration exercise will carry out? To
Well,
put everybody together.
it was carried out by, I think, Zoom. The first started with the sixth county, and later
Yeah, but
on,
bottom line being it is zoned, it will county by county, correct? They did it, they divided into zone, cut it down, sort of
mhm. No,
probably to work with India.
no. The bundle counties into Zoom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But bottom line,
Mhm,
Mosorado, it was going on simultaneously. I
mhm,
think they have Mosorado and other few county from there, Drake out to, I don't know how, I can't remember exactly how many zones, but the idea is the registration process was divided into zone, correct?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
that's bundle right there.
yeah, but what I'm saying, when they are releasing those figures tomorrow, which is today already in Liberia,
Mhm.
it will come the same way. Just how they do it, I assume. In fact, I decided really to talk to somebody about Director Flomo did not pick up our call. I sent him a text, he did not respond, but I assume that's how it should be because that's where the transparency. If you hear them talking about, in fact, they were underage registrants as well.
Mhm.
All of
Mhm.
those figures are going to be determined. I think the new process that was introduced, right, it put a hook on people registering in multiple places. You can go somewhere, but they're going to have a fingerprint. They're going to do a photograph. I mean, that those devices going to detect. If I register in Painesville and in Moravia, I decide to get in car overnight or go to Grand Gita, to register because I think I'm going to beat the system. I think that is just it's not going to work this time around. Well, I can conclude that comprehensively, but I think there's a whole. Now, what is important? Let's see what NEC going to be releasing as they mentioned in the. So let's see what Masale is saying here. Is already done county by county. Try to make our personals and official qualification now. Okay, so yeah, we gotta always like to buy. This is what Masale is saying. It is already done county by county. Try to make your personal and official qualification now. Okay, yeah. So we just want to wait and see. But what is interesting now, we want to see the real numbers.
Was the registration done county by county? I thought they started the first 6 county.
Yeah, but it's counted. That is, I mean, it's the same way, but in a different form. Probably, I'm not sure where we are on the same page here. But the idea is, most of what we're going.
Or they started with the first 6 county. Is that what we're saying? The registration?
Mosorado, it was divided into zones by counties, right? Simultaneously.
Yeah, I'm saying that because I don't know what Masale is driving at. The registration was it county by county because I know they started with the first 6 county.
Yeah, but that's the same thing. So
that's a black right there.
What are you talking about?
Well, the first 6 county, it's not like we finish with Monserrato, then we go. It was the first 6 county, and it was Delaware. So are we putting no county into bracket?
What? When you say putting it into bracket, in what context are you talking about?
I'm talking in the context of 6 county in a block. Because they started with 6 first and went on. That's how they did the whole thing. So I don't know
we're gonna wait and see, Dr. Toto, just in case all of you guys, I believe, are sending out, any of you have the time to come in. We're gonna wait and see those figures that are supposed to be coming out here. I think I need to let me see what I'm able to even get it. You saw the information I sent in the group chat, right?
Yes.
Did I put it in the group chat or I just send it to you?
It's not in the group chat.
Really? Okay. But the letter there, it says is what we're going to know. As a matter of fact, we're going to have an idea. I think where it becomes a little bit dicey was this whole sensor thing, how people were taking it to be. I don't know if people were mistaking it to see that, okay, because these numbers surface, so that's the number of registrants. That's not the case. The sensor is quite different. And I think there were some other people fell below the belt because they did not do enough when the whole process started. The issue of that sensor thing took them away, forgetting to know the census just want to give an overview of number of people, residents, whether voting age, non-voting age, immigrants, and all of that, just to know exactly the number of people. And to the extent you saw, people was talking, oh, the election going to be rigged. I'm not one of those in favor of that because there was no any evidence to suggest. We were not waiting to see. We were not watching out for the process. They were not taking that time to encourage their voters to go until lately when they found out, and people start going. And I think that way other people really got to make good use of that time. But now we're going to wait and see. The figures are going to be coming out tomorrow, 11 a.m. from NEC. That would tell us, would be an indicator which county is which and how many people will be from that area. Are we on call with that?
I don't know whether we're ready on course with that because I'm a little bit concerned. NEC tracked down some people who are voting twice. Okay.
But the letter also say that they said they're going to outline all of those information.
Yeah. So if you're tracking down people who voted twice and people who try to bypass the system, what kind of category of those people? Are they opposition people? You track them down and deny them? Are they ruling party people? We don't know. Next year, some people were disqualified. Some people were caught doing double standard. Or who are these people? I mean, we really want to know.
So, guys, just bear
So,
with
and my
me.
next question now is: if NEC was so active enough to track down people who are in voting twice, or people or underage people voted, okay. So, while were they also active in tracking down the trucking
Look,
system? Were they active in that area too? Because you bring it in number now, it's going to generate a whole lot of conversation around town.
so let me ask you. Let me play the devil advocate here. I think
Yeah.
we're bitching on everything here. Do you think we have the capacity of tracking who determine who is being trucked or not? Helen Johnson Sally went to she left Mosorado. She went to register to her own county to her own vote place to go vote. Will you say she been trucked? Will you say that? If you living at your own volition to get on car, family, and say you go into Grangie, they're going to Lofa to go vote, it is our own honesty. This is about our country. This is where citizens' obligation to their own country also comes in. And I understand these things happen, but who are carrying on these exercises? It is the same old politicians. That's not NEG providing trucks to carry these people. People who are advocating for transparency, for free and fair election. Very politicians circumvent the system. Do
So
you
what
think
next
even
so what is next responsibility in our instant? What is next responsibility?
well, that's what we're going to see tomorrow. Part of their responsibility would be to people who did that. They are some of them being caught in that they register in Morovia and left, maybe go on the other suburb of Morovia or run to bombing places in the proximity of the capital, run there to go. And who carry these people there? For the most part, 80% or say 60%, for if we want to be honest, is the same very politician who needs the votes to get to the finishing line are the same people that are transporting and encouraging these people to vote. But what I do know here, and we're going to wait and see this time around, I've come to realize, and I think some of the conversation we are having here with other network bearing fruits because people are also come to realize it is very much crucial and important to vote in your own county, your district, your region or quarter, whatever it is, because that also gives a government an idea of developmental initiative, the growth of your community. If it were 1,000, this time is 2,000. That's how development, that's how initiative has been apportioned. People wasn't taking that into consideration. They had to increase the populations of Mosorado. At the end of the day, Mosorado get a good chunk of development initiative. But I think people are grabbing the sense now, hey, in as much roads are bad, it's good to go and register in your county, in your district. And when you get that numbers, that's how a layer is added there potentially to say, oh, because of the population of this area, we are over 10,000 now, there should be a representative. I think they are grabbing our sense. And from what we see so far, there's no specific data, but multiple people will talk to. Some of the people who said they were not going anywhere, this time around, you talk to a lot of family members, they were going to they were going to their counties, Lofa, Bong, Maryland, the Nima. There were a lot of people who left, have gone to do registration. So we want to wait and see the numbers tomorrow. Those who were caught in the process, what would be the consequence? Because those are crime. You can't go vote twice. You can't come and register here and vote here. This is where the civil education, civil society also comes in. Miley, don't you think so? Don't you think we ourselves, the election commission is just an ad hoc committee that is responsible to conduct, to oversee the process? Don't you think we as a citizen are obligated to make sure that this process will protect the integrity of the electoral process by doing the right thing, registering once? You can't do it here, do you? Can you register in Port Harcourt and go to private and go register and think that you think you're going to vote?
No,
I don't think so.
no.
Why you don't do it yet?
Yeah, because here they have the enforcement mechanism to track down these
That
fraudulent voters.
that's
And
that is
secondly,
that police?
they don't compromise the rules here. There's a law, there are laws and policy in this country. They are not compromised as compared to Africa. So, but if you're talking about it is our responsibility, including civil society, I just want to let you know that even the very civil society, most of them I tend to be correct, are even shareholders in the political parties. So I don't even trust them. But I think bulk of the responsibility lies squarely on the shoulder of NEC. Because in the first place, we have compromised a whole lot of stuff. We sat there as a citizen, and the government declared a preliminary report as official. NEC kept quiet because why? The government tell
No,
NEC.
no. Okay, anyway, go carry on first.
No. The fact is that we kept quiet. And the preliminary result of the census has become the legitimate document. So to me, the census was inconclusive. And that's error number one. All right?
So wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Let's have a conversation, and I will open the lines here because we have folks here to a lot of great idea. Are you saying? Is that a responsibility of NEC to announce the result of the census? The census, more or less, is government. The NEC is responsible for qualified voters. NEC doesn't have control over the census, the population of the country. That's a separate, different thing. And this is where it became convoluted, and people were mixing it up.
So, are you saying the preliminary result that came, and later on the government turned it into a legitimate document? Was that right?
Is that a responsibility of NET to determine that? Was that NET were carrying our censor? The censor was just in line with the electoral process.
I said right by the government to do that. Let's forget about NEC now. Let's get NEC out of this thing because NEC is an arm of the government.
Right.
So whatsoever direction the government took, I don't expect NEC to backfire. So we have had a preliminary result that was legitimized and accepted by everybody, including the political party. Was that right?
So then, how do you understand a preliminary? They came out, they carried their exercises, and they say this is a preliminary, meaning more will come, but this is the first-hand information they are providing.
So if they come back in it after that, nothing.
No, I'm just saying something. I'm not here.
As I stand to be corrected. After they announced that this was a preliminary, was there any time in point in the process that this is the conclusive aspect, the final conclusion of the election of the census result? I didn't hear that. Maybe you heard that. Did you?
What I'm equally saying, I'm not going to manufacture any news here, but the information preliminary, as far as I'm concerned, then perhaps they're going to be in phases. They're going to be done in categories. One will come out tomorrow, another one maybe next week. That's just what I'm saying. But what happens when people are mixing up this whole censor here with this whole election qualified voters? The censor does not in any way is not going to determine the number of registrants, qualified voters, because the censor is very much is conclusive. It just tells us exactly who we are, where we stand as a country. Young babies, immigrants, it just tells us the population update of our country. But I think that's where people were confusing with it when they said preliminary. Instead of encouraging their people, identify their voters to go and register, because prerequisite of you being president, being senator, being a representative, you must first of all register. In this country, not every American citizen votes. You must be a registered voter, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the reason which makes it very difficult was people were focusing all the number that coming from, and we all created that sort of apprehension. But when they said that's a preliminary, that suggests to me, okay, let me pause a little bit, let me give a break and see what's going to come next. Now, that's where the responsibility of the civil society, advocacy group, are they being involved? Are they being engaging? Are they having dialogue? Were they involved into this process? No, because the country is polarized. Everything is being politics. Nobody wants to put the interest of the country first. Like I said here, and I always say, Mali, Sese Goyo, the liberal progressive, Wilton Keto of the pro-GOL supporter, why? They protect their own alligator. And that's the problem we have. Now, we're going to see tomorrow the first numbers that are going to be coming from those places. That would tell us the standings of number of people that are going to be voting in the country. Will give us a sense of how many people to register in Morovia. I don't know which county or where, how they're going to start it. But tomorrow, most likely, we're going to have an idea on the standings of this the electoral map. And then we're going to compare and contrast, looking at the last number of registrants with those various counties. Then we're going to see how people were moving, how people move from one place to another. Don't you think we should pause and wait and hear and see what comes out?
Well, I don't think so, because I believe the census already gone wrong. The census is inconclusive. We will have to establish that. They told us the result they had was preliminary. Preliminary means this is some.
Yes.
Another one will come, and finally we hear this is the full result of the census. I didn't hear that. The next thing I heard after the preliminary was the approval of this census. So
who did
I know, I want to believe. My thinking here now is things has gone wrong. So even the result tomorrow, it might be disputed, it might even be challenged, but NEC have made a provision that you can challenge the results. You can dispute it. They made a provision in the announcement. So, but if you're telling me,
you put a number out here.
Yes, if you're telling me, oh, Mr. Moderator Jones, we have a project, but this is the preliminary aspect of the project. I know you're showing me something that is of progress. So I expect the rest to come. We'll add it up, then we'll tell me as full conclusive document. This does not happen in the case of the census. We heard preliminary, and that was it, and the government legitimized the preliminary document. This is where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
so I strongly believe that thing gone wrong already.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a valid point.
And I stand to be corrected. Maybe other people heard the concluding part of the whole census finally. Maybe I didn't hear it.
Yeah, and that's a good observation there. But what I'm just saying, I'm not sure. I don't think with the censor is in the purview of the National Election Commission. The National Election Commission focuses just on the qualified voters, which is somehow part of the interjet of the censor, whether they were all done simultaneously. But what I do know, NEC carry out her own exercises throughout the country to qualify voters, people with ID card, whatever biometric or whatever system that was used. So we're going to see, and if the government, and that's the problem with this whole chain of communication, people do not come forward with communication. They always come putting out there in pieces and leave some critical one, gives room for a lot of conversation. But this is a very crucial one yet. Folks, the number is there, 682-433-8802. I want to see here to read this, what this letter say. I'm not sure what I able to get it out there to the world. Let me see here. I wanted to put it out there too, but it's kind of like, okay. That's the announcement. Moreover, June 4, 2023, NEC. The National Election Commission, NEC, informs all electoral stakeholders that haven't completed the processes of data synchronizations, deduplications, and adjudication. It will release the provisional, again, provisional, that will be some part, it's not everything, provisional, disaggregated data for the just ended biometric voter registration at 11 a.m. On Monday, June 5th, which is already June 5th in Liberia, in the James M. Flomoyat Hall at the headquarters of the National Election Commission in Morovia. NEC will release figures on the number of active registrants, right? Males, females, duplicates, and suspected underage registrations flag, and data on persons with with disability, among others. The figure of this aggregated at the county, electoral district, and registration center levels. All stakeholders, including our local and international partners, political parties, coalitions, alliances, and independent experts, and the media are invited to attend. That's that's it. So that's a again that's a provisional. They're going to be. I mean, that's not they're not going to be doing everything. A lot as they kind of like get the reports or places. You know, these things were done zone or like you said, zone by zone or county by county. Most of rather other counties were concluded before other counties. So I assume those counties that they first or whatever based on their own arrangement, we're going to have a provisional uh, information with the registrations.
Yeah,
Does that
but
sound a little bit something?
yeah, but Mr. Moderator, I'm a bit skeptical. Uh, I don't want to propound conspiracy theory here, but if the censor, the government who handled the censor, told us that it was preliminary and they legitimized it overnight, I'm afraid that this is the also NECA also qualified this what they're supposed to be doing tomorrow as provisional results. Who knows? That could be legitimate for result, probably because I'm afraid now I'm hanging on the past record to go into this era. I'm very skeptical whether it's really provisional or the final record. And it's very possible and very highly likely that it could be termed as the full scale record or the full registration of the voters exercise that took place. It's very possible from what happened to the census. So I'm skeptical right now about our provisional result. It
So
means it's
how do you want
inconclusive. Another one's
to?
supposed to come. But
Yeah,
again, what happened with the census? Who knows? They are
are
the
we
same group of people.
yeah,
No, no.
uh,
These are the same group of family in the same part.
NEC and what? NEC and who?
LEC and CDC.
Oh, malice.
Oh yeah, they're
Wait,
in the same part. Oh man,
so who
there's a
who
parable that
conducted who conducted
when
the censor?
eh,
This is why you politicians, especially those of you who people don't know your standing, was that CDC that conducted the censor
CDC did the censor.
as a party? I mean, you
Uh-huh.
say the government, I
Uh-huh.
agree, but when you say CDC, even though it's a ruling
I
establishment,
said they
we
are the
can
same
get into
family. They are the same family.
it. But I think,
They speak the same language.
no, but I
And they
think,
conduct and they speak the same language, probably with different strategy. But the end result is the same.
so are you saying the regardless what is happening now in the next term, whatever government account, would you just leave it there as the party instead of the government to hold them accountable?
Oh, from what is unfolding now, I don't know about future government, but what is unfolding now, I say yes. What is unfolding now is making me scary. I don't even know whether we're in democracy right now.
Hmm.
Mhm.
We're
So
in
let's
the-
wait.
What are we in right now?
We should not preempt and see. I mean, we should not preempt this result. Let's wait and see.
But that's what
But I'm afraid.
okay, that's what you're doing now. You
No, no, no.
creating
No, no, no. I'm being afraid is based on some premise. And the premise is the censor that was handled by the government. You know how it was handled.
should we convict you of your past doing to the present?
You cannot convict me of my past doing,
But
but there
that's
are
what I'm doing.
possibility my past doing can be transferred to
Yeah,
my
that's what I'm
successor.
asking. So can we transfer your past doing to your present
It's possible,
management?
yes. Because we are the same family, and normally we dance in the same vineyard.
So if you were to advise pro bono work, I know that's something you don't want to do, but if you were to give what is the tune or what tune do you maybe want NEC to use tomorrow?
What tune?
Yeah, what their language, what should be their base of the presentation tomorrow. They say provisional. It means it's going to be an ongoing exercise. Perhaps at the end of the day tomorrow, whether they're going to take questions, we have no idea, but somebody should be brave to take the microphone. This is a provisional. When do we expect to get a full result of qualified registrants for this process? The breaking a provisional, it means maybe they are still doing verifying somebody. This it takes time too. Let's be honest.
Okay, but then
What I'm asking, what language do you want them to deploy tomorrow in this process to put your apprehension at rest?
okay, it's one sentence language, just one sentence analysis.
What
This
is
is
it?
the provisional results.
Mhm.
But so time, we'll be giving you the full result. That's what I want to hear tomorrow. Then my apprehension will be at bay. I'll be fine with that to accept that. Tomorrow, this is the provisional result. Okay. Before October 5th, or let's say September 20th, the full package will be available to the Liberian people. That's what I want to listen to. That's what I want to hear tomorrow. But if I don't hear that, consider the provisional result as a final result.
So that's a premise. That's on a baseline. That's the condition I set.
Yes. Then I
This
will
is the
believe it.
provisional result. At this XY period of time, we expect another
The full
provisional
package.
to package to come. Okay, all right. Well, views we
But
hold. We don't.
if I don't hear that tomorrow as a language for neck, it's a foregone conclusion. That's the result for the
What
election.
we don't know whether they're going to call are going to be coming to you. We don't know whether they're going. They should take questions. They should answer questions and questions as
And
well.
let's get the
Mute.
record straight. I'm building my premise based on how the government handled the censor. That's the premise I'm basing my argument on. Because
Okay.
they are the same family on the same row, dancing in the same pot.
Okay. Let me go to this number here. 763 number 7242. Caller, good evening. What's your name and where you calling from?
Good evening, Mr. Shaw. This is Elvis calling from Minnesota.
Elvis, good
And
evening. We don't just want to be calling people name you never knows. Okay, Elvis, good evening. Welcome.
thank you. And hello to you, Mr. Malik Jones.
How are
Good
you,
discussion.
Honorable?
Say that again?
Ever you had a chance to see the letter NEC released?
No, I didn't get a chance to see the letter. No.
Okay, I think I would text it to you, but I don't know whether you heard when I was reading the contents of the letter. But anyway, go ahead. They said they are going to be releasing the provisional from the tomorrow, and they're going to be telling us details. We're going to wait and see, but based on the content of the letter. But let's hear from you.
Right. And I want to say this, when people are talking about, provisional numbers and things like that, and you, Mr. Jones, said it that based on how the numbers comes out, it will be a foregone conclusion that the elections will be rigged. But the reality is we've had quote unquote, good numbers during Ellen time, and we've had some rigged elections. So I don't think it's going to be, based on whether the numbers coming out of certain areas the way we expect them to be, that would determine whether or not the election will be rigged. Election is coming in October. I think, during the voter registration, the first phase of it was pretty good. You know, maybe we may see some increase in some places like in the southeast.
Hmm.
And since the president comes from that area, most people would see it as a foregone conclusion that it's going to be rigged. Look, it's been almost 20 years, or let's say 15 years since we had our last census. Those places are going to have some population growth, relative to other areas that are more populated, like Nimba, where you say, oh, the guy Ganta is an economic hub. You also have a place like Zweju in Grand County where, you get a lot of business coming from the Ivory Coast, perhaps not as much as in Ganta, but there's definitely going to be some growth in those areas, in the southeast. So people shouldn't read too much into it. You have to do it by, just looking at population in terms of the total population and then the growth rate within that population. So we saw it with Grand Coup and Nimba. People say, oh, how can Grand Coup grow faster than Nimba? That's not what the number said. The number said that based on the numbers of people that live in Grand Coulee County, the percentage of people, the child birth, the birth rate was higher in Nimba. Not the total number of people, but the birth rate for the per capita was higher in Grand Coulee than in Nimba. Doesn't mean that there's more people in Grand Coulee. So let us not miss on this government that the election will be rigged. So I think, Mr. So, you're doing a good job. I'm waiting for the numbers. And those who are pontificating on these platforms as analysts should be fair to the Liberian people to fairly, analyze the numbers and not use innuendos to put distrust in this upcoming election.
Okay. Ever don't go away. Let's have a conversation. There are a few numbers here. And I think this is very crucial too, because the language, the tone we set on these very platforms also create a tension-packed election because people have the mindset as long it works for them, then that law or that rule is applicable to them. They don't care about other people. That's not what we should be doing here. And that's not what I'm suggesting. Mali is saying we might give you a critical conversation and wait and hear. So just hold on. Let me bring in this number here, 612 number 3168. Familiar caller. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good
I
evening,
had a
Mr.
question for Average, but no
Yeah.
problem.
Okay. If anybody is listening, just control your Terry. Good to have you here. Just mute your microphone from there. Then I'll go to 210 number. Terry, we are hearing NEC. You're going to be releasing your provisional numbers tomorrow, and the pull hook on some of the discrepancies that they have discovered in the entering in that process here. We still don't know the detail. We don't know how the information going to be released. We don't know how many persons and all of that yet to be verified. But as we get closer to this now, is the fifth in Liberia. What are you looking up to seeing or hearing from NEC, Terry?
Yeah, Mr. So in my mind, I think this election is going to be critical, and I want to believe that the CDC-led government is going to manipulate this election.
How?
Because like Mr. Mali said, that, we got a parable in Liberia that says if the Christmas would be good, you will know from the east. All right? Looking at all the discrepancies with the census, and most people say the census does not affect the election. It does. One way or the other, it's going to affect the election.
How?
Because the numbers that the census will collect can also be can also be put into the result. Because, for example, if you hike the number in Grand Coulee County as the way the number hike in Grand Coulee County over 15 years, obviously you can add those same numbers to the voter registration rule. You can add those numbers and it will be inclusive because the census reads. You may not be able to add all the numbers because the census includes children and all that, but you can add a bulk of numbers that was not actually registered, and it would still be approved because the census reads that you got, for example, the census reads that you got 100,000 people living in Pinky Set, knowing very well that that particular group of people were never recorded. So during the electoral process, the NEC can put any kind of number in there, and we will all agree that it is true that the census read that 100,000 people in Pinkerton. So if NEC take 25,000 people and add them to the registration rule, how will you say no? Is not true? How can you say it's not possible? So there is manipulation. Once there is discrepancies and there are all kind of people registering, is a possibility that they are laying a roadmap to cause problem for the election.
So before,
that is how.
okay, hold your peace. Let's see whether we're going to have an opposing view. That's what we do. We allow people to express their views here. Those views are not the views of the management and staff of the Liberia Public Radio. Let's go to 210 number to 0098. Good evening, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hello, my name is Helena Wilson.
Helena,
Thank you
happy Sunday. Welcome to the show. Let's hear. What do you anticipate hearing tomorrow?
Concerning the census, I don't know. We didn't Liberia. I don't know what kind of control. We travel so we can learn. What is census got to do with the election? You see educated people. You know, somebody else show that people watch the show, and when people want the facts, is go on the show there and get the facts. But when people sitting on the show so down into the election, it's a problem for the country. We just lost how many people died in our country. And then we're going to be playing the kind of game. What the thing got to do with the election? And no here. I said they do something 2 times. Nobody reacted to me. They said, let me in my mail. I said, how many people living in my house? That's it. No government officials come out and say, oh, this is a result of this. But you're doing it. Especially when we were living in the diaspora, we will be flying down into Liberia. The people over there, they're not go to school. They don't need. Then the educated people will be saying on the platform. If you don't understand, let Google this thing there. And you put on the platform, you'll be throwing down. Now, everybody here in America here raise up a book? No. But they come, everybody. The city here in Liberia, and not everybody want a book. But it comes, how many people living in the country? But when we do the kind of thing there, we'll be careful. Something will happen in our country because we want to go to educate the people there. We're happy to destroy. The people that understand the thing. We went there for others to explain to them better. We will not explain. We'll try to help them to destroy because putting politics. This is not politics. It has nothing to do with the election. And I listen to educated people on your show. I listen to that one Gongo guy. He explained over that this thing has nothing to do with the election. I listen to that guy, even though I'm not saying anything, I listen to his twice on your show. And he said this thing has nothing to do with the election. But other people come out and be throwing a mocking ring all over the place. Oh, the government has something to do. It's bad, though. Our country is very bad for our country. If we lost that country, we must stop.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. So I want to ask Terry a question. Let me just push back to Terry.
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
So Terry, if you have a state in the United States that has 1 million people and their population grew by 100,000 people, and you have a state that has 500,000 people and their population grew by 100,000 people, which one of those states have the highest population, the higher growth rate in population?
Well, come again. You said
if you have a state 1 million people and their population grew by 100,000, and the other state has 500,000 people and their population grew by 100,000 people, which state had the highest growth? Okay, so the
states have the highest.
Okay, so that's to tell you like when people talk about the Southeast, they make it seem like this place is so deplorable that nobody wants to live there. So if there's ever a higher population growth than a place where where you have a higher population of people living, then there must be some form of numbers manipulation, which is not true. The reality is, no, it's not.
Let's do it one. Let's do it.
Hold on, let me finish.
Terry, hold on 1 second, and then you're gonna have your chance. Just hold on after he ends.
Yeah, population growth has a tendency to plateau. You have a place where a city may be at its plateau in terms of its population. So a place like Nimba, for example, you have almost, let's say, 600,000 people. For you to hit another 100,000 people, it's not as easy as a place where it's an emerging population or a younger population where you have people having in that younger age range to bear kids. So Grand Crew having a population growth of 60% and Nimba County having a population growth of, let's say, 30%, but the overall number in Nimba will be higher than that of Grand Crew. It doesn't mean that there's more people being born in Grand Crew. It just means because they have a smaller population and their growth rate, relative to their population was higher than that of Nimba, doesn't equate to more people being born in Grand Crew.
Okay,
so evidence of population of numbers manipulation. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, Terry, before, let me just add another layer here, and we got to come clean with these conversations. And to satisfy your curiosity, let's assume, like you alluding, or that people are manipulating or they will in favor here. What happens when these figures come out, elections are held, and the opposition wins the election, then will we say that the election was a fraudulent process?
That now that is if. All right. I agree that.
Yeah, but you are also talking about if. And I will go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. So you see, I would not agree that the opposition won the election when I am convinced that the electoral process is transparent as the way it is going now is clearly revealed that it is not transparent. So I am still going to be in doubt to watch the opposition winning this election squarely, because the way the process is being undertaken by the government, it shows clearly that there is something going on. And if the opposition do not address it earlier, they may begin to cry, somebody play fire again.
So what do you think, quickly, before I go to the next caller here, what do you think is going on?
Yeah, Mr. So, like the lady was saying, educated people, you do not build your analogy on what Kelwan Gongolo said or what other people said, because you don't know the source from which they bring to their analysis. All right. For me, I believe that there are so much discrepancy in the process.
Example of what?
You see children voting, kids are voting, and the censor.
Nobody have voted. Terry.
No, let me say voting registration. Sorry.
Yeah, but who?
Are registering.
So who? Okay, let be fair. Let be fair. Who took those children there?
Well, I didn't really know, but what I really want to dwell on is the censor. I really want to dwell on the censor because I've heard a lot of people say the censor have nothing to do with the election, and that is not true. If somebody wants to cheat, all right, and you having a censor that is going to determine the population in a specific county, definitely there's a possibility, especially looking at the president of Grand Coup and hacking the number in Grand Coup County, knowing very well. I've been in Grand Coup County before. I took Grand Coup, I was in business there. I know the population of the people in Grand Coup.
When we hear you're doing business there.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I was doing business in Grand Coup in 2000 and
2000 what?
2014, 2015.
And how, from that time to this time, how many years are we talking about now?
Yeah, a common man know the entire population of Grand Coup County.
Okay, all right. Okay, Terry, hold on 1 second. Let me bring in this other number. Hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure you get a follow detail. 7732 number 0225. Good evening, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Good evening. Thank you so much for taking my call. It's my first time coming on your platform because I was reading some comments that just came through.
Okay. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Sarah Snyder.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you to have you. Good evening. Happy Sunday. Yeah. Let's hear from you. We need to have our ladies. You two get a greater thing to do. Don't leave this conversation with we the men alone. I'm telling you. What people win your. Let's hear. What's your side of the story from the conversation?
We are all from there. It's like, branches of the same tree, right? We are all from Liberia. Every one of us has interest in there. We have our teams there. Even when the census was going up, somebody said the census has nothing to do with the votes or voting. Yes, it does. Because even in the United States, the census offers the data on the demographics of our country or places that we live, which also includes data on electronic behavior and how those data are related or used in the election. And that's the same thing. And a lot of people, my entire household, not even counted. How do you know those people that were not counted? You didn't count them, but places that you have interest, we just came from Monrovia. We just came back. Places that they have interest is those places that they say, oh yes, it's so saturated with people. There where there's a lot of growth. So then you know that something is going wrong somewhere, which of course the entire world knows that something is wrong with the census that it went through. So even during the registration process, You get there and you say it's biometric, which of course you go there, they say the other machine is not working, this other machine is working. The same thing with the sensor. So we have the concern. I don't care who wins, but you know what? It's just not right. It's not right, it's featured, and we will wait till tomorrow and hear what they will say.
Okay, I
Why
think.
should there be
No, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead, brother.
No, sorry, no, go ahead. You have the day. We need to hear from you
Okay.
guys. Sorry.
Well, thank you so much. That's what I wanted to add in. So yes, the census has a lot to do, with the elections because I mean it predicts the behavior and the data being used in the election processes because we have representation. Suppose you need a lot of representatives in your party or in your city. So then you concentrate there because it has to do with representation.
Mm. So, okay, let's have a conversation here. What a good analysis from different perspective and angle. And this is what I think is needed for us to have this sort of national conversation and not to incite our personal feelings, sentiments, or with this whole party-driven thing here. That's what I don't like because these parties, they have let all down. That's why you see people running from one party to another party when they are not accommodated, then they go run again. So, and I love the word you use. Let's wait and see because we don't want to be judgmental what these people are going to be saying, but we have the
Can I
right
say
to.
my first comment? I'm my wife. Can I say my first comment?
Okay, yeah, let's hear you.
As I was saying, I'm about to leave because me, I don't want to go into a necessary argument. In the election, the people, they are afraid. So that's why they are poking where they're not supposed to poke.
Well, you say, who people are afraid now?
Election, yeah. The PPP, the United Party, the whoever people, they are afraid because they're going to be wet into the election. So that's why they're throwing all that market rate. President, we have to beat those people. I don't care how to find. Why women Grand Coup? So people, you want to tell me people can't go live in Grand Coup? People can't go live in Grand Coup?
So, but do you think, Elena?
No, it's going too poor for them. Nobody want to live there. The whole Southeast, nobody desires to live in the Southeast. The Southeast are barren land.
But nothing there, my brother, nothing there.
Who tell you nothing there? What do you mean nothing there?
Guys, hello. Let's do it one at a time, folks.
So let me what's where the market?
Well, okay, but before you leave us here, wait, don't throw your own margarine before you go. So, do you think they don't have right to also express concern? Have you not expressed?
But what I'm saying is the people who are coming who say, but it's not the host. You are hosting the show, who come and listen to you, want the fact for you. Everybody can come and say that women stuff, but you are the host. You have to bring the fact. You can't just be talking through your all kind of things in there because you take it aside. And then you may get to also your show, or maybe a show that GMB show, or a CDC show, or maybe that AFC show. Then we know what kind of show coming up. But if you're not part of the group, you just there, then you have to bring it back on the table. That's what I'm saying to say. I can come and say anything because I'm a right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know what's in the show? That would be mayor show be my show. That will not see or mayor show be.
So let me ask you. So let me ask you, what you think this show is all about? I just need to get a feedback too. That's all.
But I think the show is for everybody. You're trying to,
right.
I don't know how to put it. It's everybody's show. You're trying to get it back. Be truthful.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
You're not taking a side. But when certain group of people try to take a side on the show, they will not watch the show because then you're taking one side. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, no. Okay.
I'm supposed to be French every show. They are not say I'm going to play, or maybe if I do that show, they are not say I'm going to ANC show.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, okay, just to thank you so much. But before you go, this LPR is a collection of people on different political views. Some people are ANC, some people are CDC. What I will not do here as a chief angle, I will not take a side. I will say it. There are some things I will say people will disagree, which of course they have the right to do. And remember, these people are always said they're always protecting their own alligator. When CDC men come here, they protect CDC. When ANC person come here, they protect ANC. When the call Liberty Party come here, they put a black cloth and black shades on their face. And but we got to hold, we ourselves must be held accountable, and that is very much important. Thank you so much, Helena.
Thank you so much for the
Yeah, let me ask Terry one question. Terry, do you know the third largest population group in the country? Or the third largest tribe in the country?
You come and do seven tests here for Terry?
We know the third people are the first, we know the five people are the second. Who's the third?
Okay, let's do it this way. Let's neutralize the conversation.
They are the Gribble people.
Okay.
From the southeastern part of the country.
Okay.
Where nobody want to live, but the Gribble people that come from Maryland.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let's not do the Savior quiz here because for a long time they put not even teaching Savior in library again. So let's do this here. Let's not preempt what NEC going to say tomorrow, but we can, when they put it out there, we can hold them accountable. We can become more critical here. But in the interest of fairness and good discussion, yes, let's do a roundtable here quickly. And I will start with you, Elvis, and come down here. What do you expect to hear from NEC that will put to rest your own apprehensions into this whole process?
Well, I think the numbers will trend the same way the census trended. Meaning places where most people think the population shouldn't, they shouldn't see any kind of growth in the population. We'll see some growth there in terms of the registered voters. But let me just say this. In this very great United States, I think that the last lady Madam Wilson made some comments to that. When you're talking about census, the number is not exactly correct. Sometimes they do estimations as well. Because just by the fact that there are babies born every second in this country. There are thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people born almost every day in this country. So your numbers can never be completely exact when you're doing the census. Sometimes you amalgamate, you add numbers together and you use some arithmetic to add up the number and to do some estimation. So it's not an exact science when it comes to numbers. Even in this country, myself, the last census that we had, I think in 2020, I wasn't counted. They sent a paper to our household, but we didn't put out, we didn't send it back in there because we didn't want to do it or, whatever. But the point is, they're going to give you a population that the United States have about 320 million people.
Okay.
It's not an exact number. It could be less or more. But my prediction or my calculation is Southeast places like Brangia, where there's a population growth, places like, Maryland, other places you'll see more people being registered to vote. In terms of the numbers, just based on the population.
But why are you so direct? I'm trying to get a philosophical analysis from you. Why are you being so direct with specific region?
No, because this idea, this is the thing that I won't use the word, but that's the thing that tipped me off because people see that there's some growth in the Southeast and they equate that since the president comes from the Southeast, even the numbers that people are complaining about Grand Coup, it's not enough to win an election. It's not enough. So the people wanted to rig the election to the point where just winning the few countries in the Southeast will give the presidency he will vastly over exaggerate that number to the point where the region will come close. Okay, so when people just talk about this, that's what takes me off, Mr. So I want to be direct. I don't want to be too philosophical. I want to get to the point because Terry making some insinuatory statements here. And that kind of takes me off.
Okay. Let me hold on 1 second, Terry. Let me just tell you now, Evan, when your pressure go over the roof, we're not responsible. We ain't get no insurance. We ain't get no insurance here for it. Okay, hold on, Terry. There's a lady in the house, so let's make it balance here. Let me go back to 7320225. Are you there? 7320220.
Yes, I'm here,
okay. What's the name, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay, Sarah, thank you so much for being patient here. So, and you said we should wait and see what happens tomorrow. So, and my guess by you saying that you're going to be listening extensively as well to see the information going to be coming out. You as a librarian, and we have all right to be concerned with the process, how it will be conducted, and how it's going to play out. What are you hoping to hear tomorrow to put to rest all of these apprehension from your side? What do you anticipate hearing from NEC saying tomorrow to say, oh, okay, this is what I thought, this is what I was thinking. But with this information being provided by NEC, I cannot say we're going to have perhaps maybe credible election. Election everywhere always has its own hookup or here and there.
Oh, that's correct.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because the first numbers that they put up, or the preliminary numbers that they put up before, I mean, official, they were just outrageous. But you know, when we're dealing with data, you know, there's always room for error.
Right.
So therefore, if you look at the margins, right, you're going to compare and contrast from previous for the last 10 years of census they had before. And then you're going to compare and contrast and you look at it. So if the discrepancy is not like something outrageous, then it's nothing. It's nothing for people to panic about. Those who want to vote will vote. Even they have 1 million people somewhere, if they say they're not going to vote, they will not vote.
Right.
But we just want the right representation in those right places so that when they're distributing anything in any area, everyone will have access to that. And not just, you know, in a particular area. That everyone will have a representation. Because if they make any mistake, you know, like just downsizing certain people. If the help is going to go there, it's going to marginalize a lot of them. So my concern is everyone to be treated fairly. So I pray that when it come out, the discrepancies, which of course it will be in any data collection, there will always be discrepancies somehow. It would not be 100% perfect, but at least, you know, coming very close to it. So I'm just waiting that tomorrow it will be okay when they come up with the end.
So basically, what I'm trying to sense out from you here, it is within the purview of NEC not, because they will be the first provisional register they're going to be given tomorrow. That will set the pace as to where potentially we'll be leading as a country based on what they're going to present, put out forward tomorrow. We'll say, I gotta scratch my hair. I need to go get a haircut. This is not looking right. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay. So Terry.
Yes, sir.
Do we want to convict people here without the judge being present and just say, oh, this guy came 2 years ago, so he killed this other ballot that has been formed in Jongbetan here? Is that what we want to do in our national conversation?
Not really. But we have to take into consideration the long distance plan to thwart the process. We cannot leave it out because tomorrow, if these things happen, you will be on your show again discussing how it happened. So before it happened, we got to discuss it so that when we come back here tomorrow after the election, we will not be pretending that we didn't know what was happening. So like the lady said, the lady is clear. Census plays a major role in the electoral process. But I don't want to go over that again to make it look buggy. But like the guy who was talking, he said, Grand Creek County, that many people. I've worked in Grand Creek County. We built for UNMIL, we built an immigration office in Grand Creek County to be specific thinking set. All right. The population in those areas are very small. They were very small during those days, and even now, they are not the same. They're still not that huge. So if the government is stretching the number, that means they are stretching the number for a specific reason. And the only reason you and I know is for the election, to inflect the process. And that is why Mr. Cummings, to be honest, I'm not supporting Mr. Cummings. I'm a JMB man. But to be honest with you, Mr. Cummings started fighting it, but people watered it down. And it is not good.
What's about your guy, JMB? Was he fighting the process? There was an apprehension in the entire process, and later on he ended up going to register, correct? Did he do good for him, to his voters? Because that was the first thing. They sent a wrong signal to their supporters. That I just couldn't get that.
I will agree with you, Mr. But you see, the last time on your show, and I told you, I said there are some things about JMB that I do like about him. His slow attempt to deal with issues is not good. He delays and then he plays reluctancy, and that could cause a problem for us tomorrow.
And he found his opportunities, Terry. He found his opportunities.
Oh Lord, this Elvis, start causing trouble here tonight, please.
That lady is a physician, but she's telling you that maybe your show will be, these are how
No,
the physicians speak.
No, I don't have problem. I mean, they can say she's speaking her mind. I'm not going to execute people for that. Anybody can call me who they want to call, as long as it's not an insult. We're having this civil conversation. I'm cool with it. I mean, and that's how you protecting GMB. She protecting your CDC. Another person will be protecting their ANC. I have my guy here who is still undecided, but one day his tune go this other way. But we can't say because he has his own views and opinions. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I think it's a good conversation. We'll wait and see the tone, the language tomorrow going to be used, how they're going to interpret it. And I hope the media too would do something, Kai, to ask some critical questions. Don't let people just say something and just walk away and you leave the citizenry in apprehension. That is not even doing our goals. Guys, thank you so much for your time here. Hopefully, we'll have a conversation after the first phase of the provisional result. Thank you so much. Let me go to Nathan Bernard here, calling on the WhatsApp. Nathan, good evening.
Yeah, brother Soul, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, yeah, long time. Yeah, brother Soul, thank you so much. Your topic interesting, and I just want to briefly make my contribution. Brother Soul, Madam David Edinburgh, I'm calling from Australia this morning anyway. Madam David Edinburgh, I don't trust him. I don't think the Liberian people need to trust her to be our election commissioner. Why should I say this from Australia this morning? It's because my credible source, which is George Soros, who was the former CDC chairman, he went on Spoon FM a couple of months, or let's say 1 year ago, and he said that this lady was George, we are girlfriend in the United States.
Hello. Nathan.
Yeah.
I don't like to get into those sort of maybe can we change that? I don't like to get into those terms because these it kill the substance of the conversation when it becomes to go to that sort of level. Can you change that to something else? If there are other critical things he said about people personal relation, I don't have no fight to that, and that's not something I feel comfortable to have this sort of discussion, girlfriend, boyfriend. We ourselves get our own waba behind, or we can start talking about when they put our own outside, then the whole network break down. Well, I don't want to do that.
No, bro, so yeah, bro, so I'm not really going deeply into that. But what I'm trying to clear the air on is, okay, like you over there, I'm your brother, and you, let me just put it that way, a brother, right? Or your intimate friend. And then you appoint me to be election for the whole republic. Do you think that I will not take side with you?
So yeah, what I'm saying here.
You see, a lot of inflation in the southeast area. So like Maryland, Grand Crew. But do you know that the Basotho are the largest tribe in Liberia? You can find them in Nima, Riverside, how to call it, Marshall, which is now, you can find that in Monrovia. They used to say, oh, Basotho people sold that land for Timothy. How they got there? You understand? All those places, including Grandmaster.
So Nathan.
We all agree now that Nima have the larger population, okay, and the better people are the second. But what happened to our own tribe? They never increased it.
So
and
it's
this
not
lady here, when
so Nathan, what we're saying here. You've been following this network here, and I really appreciate you calling from Australia, waking up this early morning. It suggests that you are concerned with what is happening in the country. What we will not condone, we will not accept, is this sort of talking heads. They can say whatever they want to say. Trust me, all of these people, they help to bring George Weah where he is today. because of their political differences and things fall apart, they are all now, everybody turned renegade. I can stop them from saying what they are saying. I can tell, I will want us to discuss the issue. I can tell you in my own village, last year when I went back home to bury my mother, my little village, nearly Burkinabe took over the whole place, the whole of Grand Gide. Now, these people will be included in the census. Does that necessarily commensurate with the voting, with the registering? Now, this is what we're going to see when those information comes about, because the census will give us, it just brings us to speed of the population of the country, where there will be some sort of correlation, but it does not necessarily suggest because the population, because when you look at Grand Gide, it borders with Ivory Coast. Way back, there's a trade lane, but I can tell you now, because of the war situation that was in Africa, there are refugees still within Grand Gide that I know, that I saw. Now, those people will be counted in the census. But what I do not want to see, they should not be people to vote, to be a registered voters. Then that's where the problem is.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want. I mean, you too go for that. Don't mind Joyce Soto. There's one girlfriend. Yeah, don't kind of talk there. You know, when you heard Bush, when you heard Bush heard people there.
She would be heading such an institution, brother. That's what all my comments about. But say you aggregate up men from going into detail. I don't want to.
No. If you have I'm not shutting you down. But if you have any other thing that we can look at besides this, their personal thing, because I don't want us to kind of like kill the substance of the conversations of people. Because I know Joyce, so they didn't even talk about his own girlfriend that he had to when he was then close up with CDC. He will not tell you that one day, so he can discuss whoever they want to discuss with. Because Bernard, this is the problem that we have in the country. By this time, all of these candidates, they are being certified by NEC. Don't you think we should start talking about their policy? How they're going to change the lives of the Liberian people? What is their economic policy, their infrastructural plan, educational plan, how much they hope to invest? Are we having this sort of conversation? No. All we are doing now, these same people are creating drama, falsehood, innuendos for subliminal messages, creating putting cloud on the credibility of our election, and that's why the American ambassador now is babysitting us. And I'm hoping that they will contact that man there. I hope they will respond. I really want to have a conversation, because this is a complete disgrace of adults behaving like children and people from the foreign land. They're telling us now to behave and do what we're supposed to do. Thank you so much. We are already almost out of time here. But I appreciate it. But let's wait tomorrow. Let NEC speak out. The first thing that's going to come from out of them, we will get a sense of where we are heading as a nation, and perhaps all of the detailed questions will follow. Thank you so much.
Okay, bro. Thank you so much, bro. So for giving me the time or not talking to you. Okay, absolutely. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be your last time, or don't say I share you down, my man. It's
I understand.
Okay then. Thank you.
God.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Marley Jones, let's wrap up here. I think you haven't had it yet. You need to take some talent or whatever. You brought this whole range here, and then you won't go to bed. Don't do that to us. So we will wait and see tomorrow what happens, the language, the tone of NEC. And I hope the media, those are going to be there. I will try to reach out with our guys to see whether they will go there. And if they will go there, whether they will ask these questions. And I hope NEC will take questions, and people should ask questions of substance that will put to a rest. Let them to really think, ask questions. Don't go ask yes or no question. That's not Shama Brown show. Ask these people questions, so that people will be able to know exactly, because what is happening now is too much of self-makeup news. People think what should happen, how they want it to happen, ignorant the fact of the rules and some of the things that are attached to it. And that is a serious problem. What are we taking home this evening with?
Well, you just introduced some other new factor right now into the conversation, which I would like to close on. You just spoke about these refugees across from Ivory Coast to your hometown. And trust me, so many people have crossed into Liberia from so many walks of life. Some of them settled down in the various county villages. And by the time you start to speak the native language of that village, trust me, it's like Liberian, we have that spirit of welcoming people. That one good thing I know. And the censor is intended to check everybody. And the censor is going to check those people. And the lady that even spoke about the censor that it has an impact on election, I rather take my hat off to her. Because there's something called data. And this is where NEC come in to see the data. Even though bulk of that whole censor is about development process or a portion development or other things, but the data is there. And that data tell NEC, those who are not 18, those who are 18 and above, you know, so it provides the kind of thing. There where the normal games come in. So it has something to do with it. It may not have much to do with it.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's fair to mention that. Of course, there's some sort of connection we can tie to it.
Come and say, oh, the censor and the election, they are now first two cousins. They are far apart. Is daylight breaking away from darkness? It's not true. There's something there. The data is there. It gave NEC an idea in the first place. How many people, even in the era, to vote per their age? And only the census data can produce that. So like what you said, people that cross over and being out there for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, they're not speaking some of the local dialect in our village. Trust me, they're going to come there. And if they're above 18, and per the percentage of that place, they are going to vote.
No. Why would you say they are going to vote? They are not Liberian.
Well, what shows that they're not Liberian? They've been there 10 years. What shows? They speak when you can speak the local vernaculars. You mingle with the people. You are good to go, and you're above 18. You are good to go.
Not necessarily. There will be a divided house. Yeah, we're going to have a divided house. But Mally Jones, thank you so much. We'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. How the presentation, the new news conference, the figures they're going to put out, how it's going to be decoded, the number of because they say in a letter honor age people and all of that. Let's see how those figures going to go. And we can have a decisive. Don't develop migraine over this whole thing here tonight, please.
Oh no, we are not developing by just that. Liberia has a history for electioneering cheating problem. That history is there. If Ajo we are now, he will tell you the cheated him. He will tell you that. That's why he went running to Nigeria. Obasanjo had to wipe his tears and told him, take it easy, wait for your time. That record is there. That history is there. We know it.
Oh my goodness.
And Joe, we have to be an obedient man. He accepted Obasanjo's advice. And when the time came, he waited patiently for 12 years. So now the people are suspecting him now that he knows the secret. Probably he might go that route.
Are you suspecting him too?
Well, I want to hold on that.
Oh, you know about other people, but people don't know about. Oh my goodness. Okay, Joe Mally, thank you so much. I don't
want Omar coming back again to take my cap from my head.
Oh God! Thank you so much, my man. We'll have a fun. We'll have a conversation.
Yeah. I really enjoy her, you know.
You enjoy her, and you say you.
I really enjoy her. She said, "We're looking up to the educated people. Now they're diluting the whole thing. Who are we going to look up to?" So I really enjoy her.
Oh, okay, yeah, but all right, my man. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We'll see you tomorrow. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wednesday. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, folks. It is why it is. we all are on an obligation to make sure that our elections integrity is something that we must maintain. Everybody get their own alligator that they make sure that alligator is not put in the zoo. Instead, they're letting it out, and that's why it's happening. And it is wrong. We must bring honest conversation to this. We can't be national conversation. You can't insert your own personal feelings. We are not talking about your household. We are not talking about your family tree. We are talking about the Republic of Liberia. We can, though, express apprehensions about the process, how the process is being executed, and how it's being carried out. The Election Commission here, they are not police people to say, oh, when you in the car here, why are you going to Maryland? Why are you going to Grand Gita? Why are you going to Cape Mount? People are also leaving their different places. They're getting to know now the importance of casting their own ballot in their own local region. In fact, who are taking these people? The same people that are crying foul. This is where the hypocrisy and people being so disingenuous. The same very people who critique and who look at the process to be a fraudulent process are the same very people are executing, facilitating the electors to take them to places where they shouldn't be going in the first place because they need these numbers to put them to the finishing line. I don't care, you get 10,000 police officer. It's just not possible. You can't start vehicle where this going. It is within it. It is our responsibility to also to protect the integrity of the election. But that is not happening. The same very politicians, the same people who are participating in the process are circumventing the law, doing everything possible to deploying financial violence, transporting people from point A to point B, taking them all over the places to register because they need those numbers to put them to the finishing line. That's just been so dishonest to your own country. And you expect to say you're going to affect change? No. Go to the process as it is. Be transparent. Be open. Let the process play out. I am waiting to see what NEC, what they're going to be putting out, some of these fraudulent voters, the underage people that are registered, and what could be. You do that here, it's a serious crime, but some of these people are going to walk away with it. You can't do that. And I don't understand some of these very people who been into this Western world in civilized society, things that they didn't do in this country. When they go into their own country, the somersault and turn the way other and becomes chameleon, changing color every minute, every second. And yet we expect to have an open and transparent society. That is just not possible on planet Earth. We should be held accountable. We should start preaching this narrative of election will be rigged. No, nothing has been proven. And I'm afraid this is what happens in 1985. The opposition did not do their due diligence. They were banking and they were preaching this sort of narrative. Election will be rigged. They will do this, they will do this, they will do that. And people did not canvass, they did not create the awareness. They were looking up to the Election Commission. I thought when they announced this process, the oppositions, advocacy group, civil society, all of these millions not registered organizations in the country who have taken the time to create a civil awareness, like this lady, the Bunky Foundation. And that it can be a jingle. It can be some sort of promo and send it, these printed outlets here, and let people play it. But guess what? Some of the very stakeholders, the voice clouded the electoral process. It will be rigged. It will do this. It will do that. They refused to even register literally until later on decided to go through the process. What that does, you are pressing the minds of your people, the very people who you look up to cast the ballot. You are telling them, don't go. If you talk to most of the people that we do talk to people, you want to be honest, If you talk to some Liberians right now, no matter where they are, they will tell you, me, I don't even want to vote this year. Why? Because they listen to these things. And for different reasons. If I want to vote for the other person, we voted 1 year, what happening now? Why the other one will do? I don't want to vote, I'll be looking at my market. And so when we talk these other crazy things, we crowd the hairs of these people, and they also gave them enough reason why they do not want to participate in the process. So we are undermining, undercutting, and killing the democratic process in Liberia, not just only for now. As we tried to grow this alligator, this unknown alligator, is not just only for this coming elections. We are talking about 2029 and beyond 2029. This is how something grows and it becomes very difficult to undo it. We hope the election commission, and not just only the election commission, all parties to the process will understand there are two things involved in the electoral process. You win it, you lose it. The time you're going to take, you need, if I were to providing counsel to the opposition or even to the government, I would do it. When I found out something strange is happening from certain place, instead of complaining, I would not just complain. What I would do, I would make my presence felt heavily there to see what is going on and cut into those numbers. But they have their talking heads, they have people who talk for them. Instead of them projecting those ideas, instead of them telling those ideas, they are the ones who are amplifying these falsehood and wrong informations, and as a result, depressing the minds of the people, and that what could potentially happen. Go there. Don't sit in Monrovia. If I was standard bearer of any party, by this time, my party chairman will not be in Monrovia. You only come to Monrovia during the weekend to bring me update about the mobilizations and start doing your own polling to your own data and see what is happening and compare and contrast. They don't do it. No easy way to success. Well, folks, we'll watch the process and see how it plays out. We have so much, we apologize for coming out so late tonight. That was due to some technical problems, and we need to do that. And sometimes Modokasetu can get tired and he can take some rest. So that was the situation. We want to thank you so much, but there's no way that we can disappoint you, knowing fully well our schedule and our own commitment to you. I hope Mr. Flomo, who is the Press and Public Affairs Director at the NEC, will also honor our invitation. And that's the sad thing about it. That's the other version. They don't like to face the media, or they become selective where to go. And when you shy away, when you avoid answering questions, you give tons of reasons to people to justify their apprehensions about the process. By this time, hopefully, I would guess in a good public relations sense, because all of the media personalities and people that are going to be there, they're not going to have the opportunity to ask questions, of course. I mean, they're going to put a timeline on, which is obvious. But after that, you could do a rounds to these media organizations, local community stations, and reassure people of the process and what you have done if you feel confident the process is free, fair, and transparent. So you need to start doing this, need to start doing more talking to reassure Liberians. And people have all reason to have this apprehension. But I do not agree with people who just do not have the facts to say this is going to happen. Now, if we're talking about election going to be red, election going to be red, what happened when ANC win it? What happened, not ANC, CPP win it, or Unity Party? Then will we certify the results of the election? It will only become red when CDC or the coalition wins it. Then that is an unfair analysis, and then we're being biased. I don't think then that is right until we can bring out the center, because it's like going to court. When you go to court, the court is not going to award you a case on circumstantial evidence. They will need a high court evidence to present, and that's what is lacking. Thank you so much. I will be back here. I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow, but you know the song Sewa. The Liberal going to be here. So it's going to be another nightmare here. The Liberal Progressive, he will be on tomorrow. But trust me, Wednesday we're going to be here. By then, we might have had an insight analysis and to perhaps talk to people and also encourage them to come here so that we and you can ask them questions. Until then, have a pleasant event, and thank you for being part of today's program. I'm Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Have a pleasant event. Bye-bye. So, wait, you see, your people, you want news and you don't want to pay for news. You know how much it costs to get a news of the share in this country here? Look on a serious note here, we would need help. As you know, we started yesterday. Liberia Public Radio will be airing on Sky FM and TV in Liberia every Saturday. The program now is Saturdays gone Saturday. All right, Sky FM. We are collaborating with Sky, and we want to, because there are too much of us who out there. We want to keep it balanced and fair, and we would need your support in that regard. LPR will need your support. So this number you see here, 682-433-8802, is LPR Cash App and Zelle number. Some of you guys bank Citizens Bank. This is a full-fledged registered media institution in this country, in this state, inside Liberia, not just sit down and be like a talking head. We would need your help. We need more programming. We need more awareness. We need more engagement. Whatever you have for us, send it. I know some good people. I know all of you are good people. Let me not be too ridiculous here. But you know what? When I put it up here, the whole week, when I see anything coming, I will start calling in. My sister, how you doing? I just calling your name, then you know what's up. Well, folks, thank you so much and have a pleasant weekend. By God's willing, we'll be back here same time with more programming. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye. All right, folks, good. Have a pleasant event, and we'll be back here with more programming in substance days to come. Decision Day in October. Have a pleasant event. Bye-bye.